go. This area that they're opening up is a third of the entire area, but it only encompasses 3 lots. I think it's very bad because they're going to bring in 2,000 truckloads of soil on a 45-degree steep slope, which is this high. You can't stand on a slope this great. This is one of the wettest spots in the state. It's probably 100 inches of rain a year. 25 acres has an open drain across this property. It's a disaster waiting to happen. They're not proposing retaining walls on the site. They're not building any additional housing. It's just a way to get rid of soil from another development on Old Dover Road. There's alternative places that they put it which wouldn't affect the environment so extremely there. By opening up this grandfathered in subdivision, they should abide by all the new laws that have taken effect in the state since that point in time. 2 main ones are affordable housing and also steep slopes laws. The steep slopes laws state that if there's more than an acre of disturbance or a quarter acre of impervious surfaces, there should not be any development on the site unless there's an extreme hardship. Putting a house in a different location on the site is not an extreme hardship on the property there. There's alternative sites that they could build on and fill in the soil on Old Dover Road, on part of the Central Park property that the town has rights to develop a school site and level a field there, or there's a utility right away between Glenmont properties there. They could fill in a site over there and not develop on a steep slope. Retaining wall in town here fell because of water. Here, you're going to have millions of acres of water coming down across this site. It's a disaster waiting to happen. It should be developed. And that's why we have the steep slopes laws. They're grandfathered in on the old approval, but now they want to open up. If they open it up, the approval, they should open up to all the new laws that have taken effect since that point in time. We're not trying to stop them from developing the property, but do it in a common sense way. The common sense way is to put what they have in place and put the soil someplace else. As simple as that. And these other sites are closer than this site to this development over here.
Council President?
Yes.
I have a couple questions.
Yes.
Let me start by saying, is there an application pending now at the planning board for this
It's gonna be
subdivision?
It's Monday.
October 21st.
Okay, so it's been noticed already?
Yes.
Okay, and it's at the planning board?
Yes.
Okay.
No,
Yeah, October 21st.
no, I think it's the Board of Adjustment.
We're going to Board of
No.
Judges instead?
They're going to the planning board?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm trying to find out. So I can check tomorrow, because I'm just,
I
I
thought it
became
was-
aware of
I thought it
this.
was
Jim,
for-
I know that it's the planning board.
It's the planning
because, you
board.
know, I had some discussion about it, so
Okay.
it is the planning board.
And there's no development proposed other than to fill the lot with soil coming from off-site?
Basically, what they want to do is just relocate. Right now, there's a cul-de-sac that has probably 10,000 yards of soil at the end of the cul-de-sac where they could build 2 houses right now.
Right.
They don't have to bring any more soil in to be able to build those 2 houses on those lots.
Okay.
They want to take away 9 2/3 acres of open space that was part of the pumping station that's part of this. There's basically 3 lots involved. And extend the lots with the whole length of their property so that they eliminate the open space. This becomes part of the properties. That's protecting the hillside there. The part that they already cleared in the other development, the noise level went up through the roof because you can hear everybody talking down at Central Park or Morris County. The trees act as a filter over there. There's nothing to filter anything. They basically clear cut the property over there.
Are they proposing to build the 2 remaining homes at the end, or just fill the entire site that's not yet developed?
They're proposing going about halfway through and building the houses in the middle of
I see.
the site there. But they're right on the cul-de-sac. All the other homes are 50 feet from the street. They can build the other 2 right there 50 feet from the street without bringing one more truckload of soil in on the property there. They destroyed Pudding Stone Road, and they were supposed to repave that, but they delayed so long, the neighborhoods over there were going to sue the town, and the town ended up having to pay the $250,000 cost. Now, if they're going to bring in 2,000 truckloads of soil, that means there's 2,000 truckloads in, 2,000 truckloads out. The brand new road's going to be destroyed again. And who's going to pay for it?
Right. So I would encourage you to go to the planning board hearing to express your concerns.
Yes.
all right?
We're
And
gonna
then
have the whole
I'll,
neighborhood there.
right, and I'll also speak to the planning board attorney tomorrow, right? About
Thank you very much
about
for
the
your time.
jurisdiction of the board.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Cup of coffee, it's not the planning board.
All right. You got it.
Eric Densmore, 95 Mara Road, Lake Hiawatha. Couple of things I wanted to bring up. Number one, this afternoon, I went to go see your paramedics to get my daughter's car seat adjusted, and I have to say, I've had this experience now about 3 times, and they do a fantastic job. And I think that's a great service that's offered to the people of this town. So I just wanted to give a shout out to them because I think they do a fantastic job on this service. The second issue that I'm kind of concerned about a little bit has to do with the process of transitioning from the plastic bags. I was speaking to the management of Food Town the other day, and I was asking them out of curiosity, have you heard anything with respect to the education or what type of transition process this is going to be? And she had indicated that she had not been in touch with anyone, nor had she been given any information since the ordinance passed. I guess my concern is we're already at October 15th. The holidays are kind of around the corner, and people aren't going to be paying attention to this, to the education process that we were advised of. And when it's time to make the change, it's going to be kind of abrupt, which is going to increase the costs of these grocery stores, which unfortunately they're going to have to pass it on to us as the consumer. So I guess my question is, what types of efforts are being made right now to the township grocery stores, ShopRite, Food Town, and whoever else may be really affected by this to kind of make the effort so this is a smooth and seamless transition? That's all.
Through you, Council President, we are in the process of drafting a letter. We've gone back and forth on some of the literature that has been produced relative to the plastic ban ordinance. It goes into effect February 6th, 2020. I would expect that by the end of this month, first week of November, there'll be correspondence going out to all business owners. Chad, our recycling coordinator, is in the process of assembling those addresses of who that correspondence is going to go to, along with the literature, which we've tweaked thanks to the help of the environmental committee over the last number of weeks. So I think, by the end of the first week of November, there will be correspondence which, predates the holiday season to some degree. Hopefully these business owners will be able to use a lot of their inventory during the holiday season. So I think the timing of the ordinance actually works in their favor. And this way they could be ready to go for that first week of February of 2020 when the law goes into effect.
Thank you. See no one else come forward, I entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Floor is closed.
Okay, ordinances for introduction, none. Mr. DePiero?
Ordinance for second reading, ordinance 2019:64. An ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, Morris County, New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 370, Taxation, Article 1, Hotel Motel Occupancy Tax of the Code of Parsippany-Troy Hills. The notice for the ordinance above was published in the Daily Record, the official newspaper of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, on September 23, 2019. This ordinance was introduced at the September 17, 2019 regular meeting. Motion to accept that ordinance 2019:64 be heard in its second and final reading by title only.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to open the public hearing for ordinance 2019:64.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Ms. McCarthy. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
The floor is open on this matter only.
Could it please be explained exactly what this tax is and how it works, in whose favor?
Sure, I can explain that. The mayor and I and Administrator Kazmark met recently on a series of hotel issues, and we noted as a result of that review that our current township ordinance did not provide for a penalty for those people who failed to pay the hotel tax on time. The statute actually allows the township to assess a 5% interest against unpaid taxes. So the amendment will accomplish that. We also noted that everybody who's required to pay the hotel tax is paying a tax, and there are no unpaid hotel taxes as of, I think it was August. So.
Thank you. If seeing no one else come forward, entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Floor is closed.
Whereas the above ordinance was read in title on second reading and hearing held thereon, now therefore be it resolved that said ordinance be passed on final reading and that a notice of final passage of said ordinance be published in the newspaper according to law. Motion to approve the resolution above.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Ms. McCarthy. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Ordinance 2019:66, an ordinance of the Township Council of Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, Morris County, New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 91-2 related to the licensing of dogs. The notice for the ordinance above was published in the Daily Record and the official newspaper of Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills on September 23, 2019. This ordinance was introduced at the September 17, 2019 regular meeting. Motion to accept that ordinance 2019:66 be heard in its second and final reading by title only.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. McCarthy, seconded by Mr. DePiero. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to open the public hearing for ordinance 2019:66.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Ms. Peterson.
Vice versa.
Vice versa.
I'm sorry? Vice versa. So motion made by Ms. Peterson, seconded by Ms. DePiero. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Floor is open. On this ordinance only. Seeing no
Seen
one
it.
else?
See no one come forward. Motion to close the public hearing for ordinance 2019:66.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. McCarthy, seconded by Mr. DePiero. Roll call, Mr. DePiero. Ms.
Yes.
Grignani.
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion
Whereas the
passes.
above ordinance was read in title on the second reading and hearing held thereon, now therefore it be resolved that said ordinance be passed on final reading and that a notice of final passage of said ordinance be published in the newspaper according to law. Motion to approve the resolution above. Second.
Motion made by Ms. McCarthy, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Non-consent agenda resolution, 2019-203. Resolution determining the form and other details of $42,261,000 general obligation bonds, Series 2019, consisting of $22,803,000 in general improvement bonds, $1,757,000 open space bonds, $7,673,000 water utility bonds, $9,570,000 sewer utility bonds, and $458,000 golf and recreational utility bonds of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills in the County of Morris, New Jersey, and providing for their sale. Motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Peterson, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Resolution 2019-204. Resolution providing for the combination of certain issues of golf and recreational utility bonds of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills in the County of Morris, New Jersey, into a single issue of bonds aggregating $458,000 in principal amount. Motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Grignani, seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Didn't we just approve that in a previous resolution?
They're all
They're
being
separate.
individually done.
They need to be
They're all being
separated.
individually done.
Oh, you do them in
There's-
total first, and then you do them separate?
And there's one global issue,
Right,
and
and
then
then-
there are four that are separated by utilities and by the general fund.
Correct.
Okay. You're up to me. Yes.
Ms. McCarthy, Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Resolution 2019-205, resolution providing for the combination of certain issues of general improvement bonds of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills in the County of Morris, New Jersey, into a single issue of bonds aggregating $22,803,000 in principal amount. Motion to approve the resolution above.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Ms. McCarthy. Roll call, Mr. DePiero. Ms.
Yes.
Grignani. Ms.
Yes.
McCarthy.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
R 2019-206, resolution providing for the combination of certain issues of the sewer utility bonds of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills in the County of Morris, New Jersey, into a single issue of bonds aggregating $9,570,000 in principal amount. Motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. McCarthy, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Resolution 2019-207, resolution providing for the combination of certain issues of water utility bonds of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills in the County of Morris, New Jersey, into a single issue of bonds aggregating $7,673,000 in principal amount. Motion to approve the resolution above.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Peterson, seconded by Ms. McCarthy. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Resolution 2019-208. Resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills establishing non-refundable application fees for filming permits. Motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Grignani, seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
And congratulations, Clerk.
Thank you.
Consent agenda. Be it resolved, all items listed with an asterisk are routine and non-controversial by the Township Council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes. Bills list.
Application? Bills.
Payroll-
Oh,
payrolls and
approval,
bills.
I'm sorry, I thought we were doing that. Approval of payroll and bills list. C.F. Ancucci recommends authorization for payment. Authorization of payment on October 18th, 2019, regular and miscellaneous payroll, estimated at $1,650,000. Payment of bills from voucher list of 10/15 2019 through October 17, 2019 is $2,229,019.30. Motion to approve and authorize payment for the above.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. McCarthy, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas the Township Council is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, and whereas the Township Council wishes to discuss attorney-client privilege, Carriffy litigation, and Kemper contract negotiations, and whereas minutes will be kept, and once the matter involving the confidentiality of the above no longer requires confidentiality, the minutes can be made public. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills that the public be excluded from this meeting. Motion to adjourn into closed session.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Ms. Peterson, seconded by Ms. McCarthy. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
We're going to adjourn into closed session. We don't expect any action to be taken for the public. Thank you. Have a good night. One, we're on the record.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to
come back.
open.
Yeah, motion to open.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Peterson, seconded by Mr. DePiero to go into open session. Roll call, Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
We're now in open session and need a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Peterson, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
We're adjourned. Have a good night.